filmmaking can be a powerful tool for social change, allowing storytellers to raise awareness, inspire empathy, and mobilize action on important issues. What should filmmakers consider as key elements when creating impactful films for social change? What are the pathways to effective storytelling for engaging audiences and conveying complex social issues in a relatable way? Are filmmakers striving to accurately represent experiences and perspectives of the communities they are portraying? In what ways have films inspired empathy and understanding by sharing personal stories and experiences? This is the Eastern Eye. I am Alex Ogbodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye, a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. Joining me tonight is Jannah. He's the director of the BBC documentary, I Am Igbo. He is a dynamic and multifaceted professional whose career spans impactful work with young offenders and youth services to a celebrated journey in broadcast television, where he has gained a significant recognition in the Welsh daytime TV programming industry. Known as an ideas man and on-screen presenting, his unwavering passion for storytelling has driven his success, leading him to create and produce some of the most popular formats for national and regional broadcast platforms. He's a director, producer, presenter, and published author. Mo is currently a research fellow with National Museums Wales, where he focuses on exploring how immersive technology can enhance storytelling within collections. He'll be joining me shortly from the United Kingdom. Join me after the break. Joining me tonight from Cardiff, Wales, is Jannah, the mighty Mo. Thank you so much for joining me on the Eastern Eye tonight. Hello, Mo, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, thank you for joining me from Wales. How's Wales this evening?
Wales is good. The weather is hit and miss. A little bit of rain, a little bit of sunshine, but we can't complain. We give thanks.
So talk to us about, let's just try to get around this in the opening. Well, how has it been, being a filmmaker, being someone in the media, trying to tell stories?
Yeah, I haven't always been in the media. I used to work for things like social services, serious crime unit, actually, believe it or not. But again, working with people, trying to champion people. And I made a transition maybe about 10 years ago over to the film industry, to the TV industry. And I've been there ever since. It's very much an honor to be here because it's a very, very powerful medium, the visual art. And so, it's been quite a privilege to be here and to be able to celebrate stories that mean a lot to me.
Celebrating the stories, but not all stories are told because they will be celebrated. There are stories that actually help you to heal wounds, or stories that will maybe just help a nation to rise from the ashes of whatever it is, invasion of whatever it is. But talk to us about the most important decision to make when you are preparing to delve into a film project.
For me, it's very much about intention. And going into this process, I think it's very important to be very intentional in terms of what you want as the outcome. So when I was doing I Am Igbo, there was an opportunity to celebrate and showcase, a community and show them in dignity, and in a beautiful light, the atrocities that the community faced was horrendous. So to be able to show a community bouncing back from that level of tragedy and challenge was a big task, but it was a task that I was grateful for, and it's the type of topic I like to do Certainly the type of topic I like to do, especially coming from the African continent myself. It was very much a privilege. It was a BBC documentary. Um, it wasn't something that I've worked on with them in the past. So to be asked by the TV commissioners to come on board and to direct this particular project was a real privilege.
Yeah, I mean, talk to us about that privilege. Was the story relatable for you? The story of the Biafra War and the people who have to continue living their lives in the most difficult circumstances?
Yeah, it did. I think everything came back right back to my own doorstep and my own family. I have people within my family, uncles, aunties, who are Igbo. You know, I'm African, so we're all mixed. You know, so it felt like even on that basis, I owed it to the community to really tell their story in a just way. You know, and so. Yeah, it was this particular project. You know, I've never really and don't often get an opportunity to talk about Africa, to share the experiences of Africans to the wider world. So yeah, this again was a real privilege and an honor. And the feedback since it's gone out has been amazing, and it's been an education as it was for me. It would be an education for many others. You know, often there's so many wars that happen. Sometimes we forget often some of the challenges that other people face and some of the things that they've gone through and had to overcome. So it was great to be able to remind people about the situation, a situation that's still very much current. You know, so yeah, I certainly learned a lot from the experience myself.
So, I mean, the one thing that the experience you've seen or you've garnered directing I Am Igbo, is it the first one you've had? I mean, it looks like there are other similar projects you've gotten involved in. Just let us in on that.
Yeah, there's a whole wide range of projects I've been involved in, particularly around the world within the genre of history. I'm a research fellow as well, so that kind of gives me a great insight, and I've been able to use that to tell the story of Wales and the UK. So I think this differed because it gives me an opportunity to tell a story of home. You know, when I'm telling the story of the Igbo community, it's home from home. You know, and you know, for me, so that was the big difference. So I felt that weight of responsibility actually to tell the story and to do the story justice. But I was really fortunate to have Elemchi and Elemchi allowing us into the lives of herself and her family and into the community. And the community, as you know, the community is very beautiful, very vibrant community here in the UK, particularly in Wales. So that was great to really get into the underbelly of all the community and to get face to face with the community and their stories.
Talk to us about how mixed the communities out there in Wales would be, especially now in Cardiff, where you are talking to us from. It looks like that is a rich multicultural mix out there.
It's very much a multicultural mix. It's probably one of the oldest truly cosmopolitan place in the UK, Cardiff, we will say that. And a very interesting fun fact for you is Nigerians are the largest minority community here in Wales. So, as you know, so it's a very, very vibrant place. When I say home from home, here it very much represents that. So it was good. It was really good because of course the content that I'm making is resonating with the people here, you know, and you know, again, you know, I've said often an honor, but it really very much was because the community is so vibrant, because the community is such a large community, makes up such a large demographic. Yeah, it's been really powerful, really powerful, and yeah, the Africans have also been a part of Cardiff for a long time, hundreds of years. You know, there's Nigerian communities in Newport in the 1800s. through my work in the archives and in history, I've been able to learn these facts, and these facts are really powerful because it allows us to have roots here as well. And it was great to be able to share that to the wider world.
All right, so I'm quite fascinated about how way back into the past that the multicultural nature of Cardiff Cardiff seemed to have come a long way in terms of its ability to bring cultures together. So talk to us about how important it is for other groups, maybe coming from Africa. How important is it for these communities to continue to tell their story? Because it looks like that's the only way to continue to put it out there for the younger generation.
Yeah, I mean, stories make the world go round. Stories are a fundamental way to how we learn, how we grow. And as you know, there's a new generation of young people. I was born in the 80s, so after the event, but I became familiar with a lot of the pictures of Biafra, which actually came at a very interesting time because it was a time where households in the UK had TV sets. First had proper TV sets, colored TV sets in their living rooms, in their homes, and these were some of the images that actually there was a demographic in the 70s that they grew up with in terms of seeing Africa and Africans going through plight. So that was really very, very interesting discovery, but also finding out that the new generation of Igbo communities, of Igbo families who were raised, some of them born and raised in the UK, still shared in that trauma that their parents, their grandparents had gone through. I mean, that was a very profound discovery, and then kind of, I think wider than that, like looking at the impacts of trauma and what that has on communities. Again, very, very insightful. So really, really grateful to be able to use the medium of visual art through TV to be able to retell this story to a new generation and an old generation.
I mean, I just want to ask you this question. If you are preparing for a project, what do you consider the most important thing to consider? Is it funding? Is it the idea? Or is it the facilities?
Well, for me, the greatest thing to consider is the access. Because I think access to the real people, the people who are affected by the story, is the number one thing to ensure that I have to hand. Stories are about people, so I think that's probably one of the most important things, the access. The idea, of course, ensuring that the idea is vibrant and speaks to not only maybe one group, but multiple groups. That's also a very, very valid. And I think then stylistically looking at how I present the particular content, again, a very, very important question to look at. And yeah, so it's people first. I'm always people first. So ensuring that we've got the right people at hand who have the right stories, and then really ensuring that the idea is watertight, and then looking at the style. So that's kind of generally my director or my approach when it comes to like directing.
Access. I mean, I heard that loud and clear. So, I mean, you spoke a little bit about what you were doing before you entered into television and the film industry. Just let us into it a little more. What type of work did Jannah do before entering the broadcast television industry?
Yeah, fascinating. Yeah, I had a varied professional life. If kind of in summary, in terms of like the types of work that I've worked in, I was working in people-focused places. Social services are working with families and communities and individuals who are struggling. And I've always felt myself drawn towards trying to impact people's lives in a positive way. And the other works that I've done, prior to that, it's all generally around trying to improve lives and getting very up close and personal with people in their stories. And what I found is when I came to the TV industry with no prior training, I'd have to say, I I had found that I was already immersed in the world of stories and people. And TV is just about people and people's stories essentially. So I really found I was able to go into this new industry running, because of these experiences that I've had, these normal experiences, because of my access to people and their stories and understanding the gray areas between them. And I suppose a natural empathetic ear, because one of the things of telling, of documentary storytelling is listening, not only from an audience perspective, but way before then, but from the director or the producer's perspective, actually listening to the stories, so yeah, it's been, I think I was born for this, it feels like I'm in a space and a place where it's an amalgamation of all my experiences, and I've found a platform where I can really make the most of my empathy, make the most of my experience with people, make the most of my creativity and drive. And also when I came into the TV industry, I understood very clearly that it was a medium for change, and hopefully through projects like this, I have helped and will continue to create change. And, kind of alongside that, there are, presently that I'm involved in lots of different projects around social change, whether it be in the museum space or within the world of TV. I've also quite recently jumped over to the world of drama, which is a very interesting beast, lots of long hours, but it's been a great learning curve, and ultimately will help me to better tell stories. And so I see it as my offering to the world, championing people's stories, giving access to the voiceless, and giving dignity to people.
So, I mean, that's an interesting story you've told us now. And I would like to know the roles you've played now that you are in the film, TV, radio, here and there, BBC. And of course, it looks like you are one of the rock stars of the media out there in Cardiff.
Yeah, it's a tiring job. Because I work both in front of screen and behind screen, and both of those have been quite full. I'm actually about to begin a new TV production. I can't say with who. There's a really big star attached to it. But there's going to be an announcement at the Edinburgh Film Festival. So that will start filming that in August, which will be good. And that's me on screen. So that's fantastic. And then, alongside that, there's I'm working on lots of projects. Some I can say, I'm doing some very interesting work around VR and telling first-person stories, and telling them in a way that hasn't been told before, and in a way that hasn't been told before. Sounds a little bit cryptic, but I've been commissioned, and as the weeks and the days roll by, I'll be able to say more. But certainly got a lot going on.
We'll be looking forward to everything that will unveil with time. And I'd like to find out, really, for you and for some other people, is it such a big task for people who want to create social change, but they don't quite have the message to do so? Because often people want things done, but maybe they are not quite ready with the idea, but they are in a hurry. Is there something, maybe a note here and there, for aspiring filmmakers who want to make a change in society, but their story isn't quite strong enough, but they're in a hurry to put it out there?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, we live in a fast life. I'm certainly on the in the fast lane, on the motorway. Feels like that. So it's and I know a lot of us are rushing around, and I certainly can understand the energy there is to tell stories, and the want. For everybody has a story to tell, right? And so, for me, I just encourage people to create, to do it, to not wait. And sometimes if you capture a story, and if it's not the finished article, what it does do, if you've made some headway into creating or capturing the thing that you're trying to create, then you have something to potentially use to collaborate with others to help polish and fine tune the final product. I one of the coming into the TV industry, I found for myself, I had to have more than one string to my bow. So yes, I could present, and I loved people, and I was really good with people, and it was a very natural thing, but it certainly wasn't enough. And I found, in terms of ideas, I found that to be quite fertile ground. And I was very soon known as Ideas Man, and I would send them across at crazy times of the night. I was very, very relentless. Once you make these personal relationships with the right people within TV, you create relationships, and you create value. For me, I would probably say that also to aspiring film artists, filmmakers, is to be value, to create value. That's why I think creating is really important. And often, like with ideas in the past, I would have to create an idea and then use that to sell the idea to the commissioners. But if I hadn't done the work, if I hadn't put that, being extraordinary, not ordinary, but that extra bit in going that next step and creating the final product that might not be, which was certainly not the finished product, but it gave me something to wield when I was having conversations and to strike deals. And over the course of the last 10 years, I made a living from developing ideas. It's been tricky, tough, but very worthy and very worthwhile. And the people that you're telling stories about, you always have a special place in their heart. And for me, that's been one of the lovely parts.
Yeah, I mean, people never forget how you made them feel. All right, we'll take a break at this point. When we return, we'll continue with our interview with Mighty Mo. We'll talk to him about his movement from Birmingham to Cardiff. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. I still have Jannah, Mighty Mo, the Ideas Man, joining us from Cardiff, Wales. But you've not always been in Cardiff. You moved from Birmingham to Cardiff. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I've had quite a varied childhood. I was actually born in London. So lived in London until maybe about 11, 12. And then moved over to Birmingham, London being the biggest city in the UK, and Birmingham the second biggest city in the UK. So that was interesting. Again, moving from place to place was quite nice later on, because I developed, you have to learn the ability to develop new friends, right? And create a new network. So, London to Birmingham, and I think about 18, 19 university age, I then moved down to Wales. And fun fact is, I think I've been in Wales longer than I've been in any part of the UK. So I'm an honorary Welshman. I have kids here as well. So it's been a very interesting journey.
So I'm sure you must be conversant with the Millennium Stadium, I guess. Don't mind me. I'm looking for trouble. I mean, looking at you, I'm sure you love sports, but we'll get to that in a bit. I mean, just talk to us about what it is really that Mr. Mo does when he is not doing films.
Wow. Okay. It was funny because what I tried to do is the thing that got me to where I am, which is I'm in a quite fortunate position. I like to help people. you know, um, that does a lot for me. I have a very diverse portfolio, so that consists of lots of different things. So professionally, I'll get called upon. I do lots of like life coaching stuff. Again, I feel like giving back. The fact that I'm in this fortunate position, and I am an achiever. I think I feel like there's a responsibility for me to share the ingredients of what it takes to achieve anything in life, and particularly with young people. So I do a lot of stuff with schools, trying to remind young people in the noisy world that we live in, remind them remind them that everybody has something special. Everybody has something to give to the world, and their job really in life is to go within themselves and to find that, and to give it to the world. I've happened to find mine in the medium of storytelling, but that wasn't always the case. It wasn't a linear journey. So I kind of, but the journey started within myself and reflecting
That's right.
On what I like to do, and how I like to do it, and yes, so that's probably the biggest thing that I do when I'm not working, is going to schools and working with different communities. Down here is very cosmopolitan, so you've got communities from across Africa, across the Middle East, Asia, the local indigenous populations as well, and everyone needs help, even me sometimes, and so I've crafted out my lane, as someone who helps, who tries to help.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. You are, in a sense, always on duty, even when you're supposed to be resting, isn't it, Mo?
You're never off duty.
Yeah,
Never off
you're
duty.
never off duty, yeah. So, talk to me about your research fellowship. You're currently a research fellow, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
So that,
what's the research fellowship about?
yeah, so it's very much around. Again, started from an idea that I had, that gained traction, and then I was offered a fellowship, and that's with the National Museums, and I think it tied into my want to tell stories to empower people, to make them see themselves, and the galleries and stuff that we have in the museums are dead in every sense of the word. You've got archives from a long time ago, and skeletons. No, it's lots of different things, and I wanted a way to tell those stories in a better way, to tell those stories to a new audience, to tell those stories in a way that it could reach a wider audience. And so for the last, I was luckily was able to receive funding from a consortium called Media Cymru. So they had a large pot of funding for people with good solid ideas. And I was able to work with them and collaborate with the museum, which I'm still doing at the moment, and to create this new experience using virtual reality. So Alex, I'm not sure how many times you've had the old VR headset around your head, but it's quite a jaw-dropping experience. And again, I just using technology, using my story telling background, and also my love for people and stories of people, and I found a happy medium. And I found a new way of telling these stories. So I'm actually really excited about it, to be honest. So this is going to be my first gallery that I'll be going into and doing the installations for I think around August, September. So very, very excited about that. And I hope to be able to tell the stories of communities in museums and galleries across the world. So that's the next move, because it is quite a novel approach to telling stories. So yeah, that's what I'm doing in the museum. They've been absolutely amazing with me, and we did a project quite recently as well around a book. So I co-authored a book about the diversity here in Wales, which was went down really well, which is fantastic. And yeah, so the museum have been a fantastic partner for me, and there's some very exciting things happening.
All right, but I need to get to the point where Mo, the mighty Mo, the ideas man, pivoted to film and media. At what point did you take that decision? Did you study film in school or something like that? Because you told us that you started off as someone who helps people.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a very weird story. When I mentioned the word extraordinary. So what I would do is I would work generally between 9 to 5, and then at 5 o'clock when everyone goes home, I would then go to from 5 till maybe 12 o'clock in the night. I would then dedicate my afternoons, evenings, and a lot of nights to helping people in a variety of different ways. And that could be like whether it be working with disadvantaged young people, working with single mothers, helping them into further education, working with the homeless people, people with substance misuse issues, a lot of mental health. There was a lot of mental health work during that period of time. And when I say mental health, in terms of you're going into situations where people have a lot of challenges, so it's naturally creating imbalances. And I suppose I was there to try and be a supportive, to be there in a supportive capacity. So I did that for like 5 years, and I literally had no life. And it was funny because I suppose I was at the prime of my life in many ways, and I had a small group of academics who were much, much older than me, and I spent a lot of my 20s with them, and we were gallivanting not only around Wales, but we did projects across Africa. We went on projects in Asia, and some of the projects were like working with schools over here to identify surplus materials and then shipping them out. And I just gave myself. And then in a weird twist of fate, there was a film crew from the BBC, and they were filming something near where I was in my offices where I was working, and they were, I don't know, just captured by me. I had a way with people, people who generally came into the center. We had a great rapport, and these guys were like, look, can we film you? Can we film you after work? Because we know that you've got a whole life, a whole world outside of this. And at first I was quite, I wasn't interested, because I didn't do it for that reason. But then after I thought, actually, if they film me and something works and it's good, then maybe it's a greater mechanism, because I can speak to more people. So anyway, they came out, they filmed with me. They captured what I was doing. I think I was giving stuff to homeless people in the middle of the night when people were out clubbing, and I was doing whatever. Anyway, having fun. I enjoyed it. So they filmed me, and whatever they filmed went into their world of TV. And lo and behold, I had the head of Warner Brothers UK come to Cardiff, come to meet me. I didn't know who he was, but he was like, "You're great. You can do anything. What do you want to do?" I said, "Help people." And he looked at me strangely. But the journey started there, and he was able to introduce me to the head of the big channels, and then the journey began, I did Mo's World, which was following me in my world, my rather strange world of giving, and that was it. And so I suppose, from my perspective, whatever you give into life, you can get back. It comes back in different ways. But the main thing is just to do what comes most natural to you.
Is it possible that the experiences you've had may have prepared you for the role you're currently playing? Because you are now very vast with working with people. And for you to tell people's story, it's not that hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's telling stories, in fact, is a science, actually, in a different way, because to get someone to tell their stories, people need to feel at ease, and they need to feel trust, and they need to feel that you are there for all the right reasons. And I suppose, like, the life that I'm in TV for all the right reasons, and and the stuff that I was doing before TV, I suppose showed who I was, and I haven't changed that. And I've been able to incorporate that, and it has allowed me to gain the trust of people, which has then allowed me to create amazing content over the last 10 years. So yeah, I very much think that the things that I've been through in the past allowed me and enabled me to do what I'm doing presently. And and it's funny, because if I look back 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I wouldn't have seen this. I couldn't have seen this. I couldn't have seen that I'd be where I am. But I suppose if I could go back, I'd tell myself, to my little self, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, because you never know where the road goes.
So, I mean, look at how the big Mo is reflecting back to the little Mo. I mean, it's an interesting thing. Such a refreshing story to listen to. But I mean, how do you think people who want to be like you, but they are not quite prepared for the journey? I'm going back to this again. And look at what you've done. At the middle of the night, you're helping others. Not a lot of people want to do that, Mo.
Yeah, to get extraordinary results in life, you have to be extraordinary. Ordinary means, like you just said, most people won't do that. Be the extra, then you'll get the achievement. Life is literally about effort that you put in. And I think I'm a reflection of that reality, or that truth. And so, for those who say they're not ready, when are you ready? There's no, all you have to do is do. Just do. Just do, and be authentic to yourself. And be brave, be courageous. Be brave and courageous. Because if you want something, you put a plan together, and you focus, you focus, and you be relentless, and and there will be many times, I work in the world of ideas. Do you know how many times they've said no to ideas? Wow. Like, I don't know, my success rate might be, I might get 2 commissions for every 15 ideas that I put in. But each of those 15 ideas, I put blood, sweat, and tears in. So, that's the statistics. But I persevered. So my message to those people up and coming, is to persevere. Is to persevere and to believe, and make a difference. I didn't really want to, I was very much about just making a difference. And I suppose, if and if you can make your ambition greater than yourself, I think that helps. I'm, I suppose, a vehicle. I'm a vehicle to help films like I Am Igbo to go out. I'm not the film. The film does what it does, but I'm a vehicle. So I suppose, as well as, like, understanding your role in the world.
Mm-hmm. So, Mo, have you been to Nigeria?
No, but I've got too many Nigerian families. Too much. Yeah.
So when will that be?
Well, I've been invited this year, around December. So let's see. I've been traveling the continent quite a lot recently. So yeah, the ambition is to definitely try to get out there towards the end of the year. It's a shame. I wish into Africa flying was a bit better because, but yeah,
It's
we're
a,
gonna make it happen.
it's a challenge, isn't it? It's a
Just a
challenge.
bit.
54 countries, but you have to fly in from other parts of the world, not from Africa. But let's go back a little bit to I Am Igbo, because that's the reason I'm asking whether you've been to Nigeria. I mean, it would be a lovely experience for you to visit Southeast Nigeria, to see things for yourself, to have a feel of the people whose story you've directed.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it would be. I can imagine it being a very emotional trip. You know, having educated myself so much on that event and what has happened subsequently. And also understanding that, the things are not perfect, there are things rumbling at the moment. So, to have the opportunity to go back would make it even more real and even more powerful. And for me, the story doesn't end there. I think there's still room in the room for more stories about this situation and what has happened subsequently. There's still voices, there's still space. So I've watched this space, but also the journey hasn't stopped, and I think it's only right for me to go and visit.
I mean, do you have a message for aspiring filmmakers, Mo?
I do. Make a difference. Just make a difference. The films are an amazing medium. I remember one lovely guy once told me, he said, "He who controls the images controls minds," and because it's a really powerful medium. You can make people feel good or bad, or you can galvanize and impact people. So yeah, see it for what it is. It's a medium. It's a tool. It's a tool to empower or to disempower other people. And so I would say, for those inspiring, um, to continue to believe in themselves, and even sometimes it feels like if no one wants to hear your story, there are people that want to hear your story. It might feel sometimes like people don't want to hear your story, but there is an ear and a heart for all types of stories, and I think it's just kind of furthering on everything that I've said. Just be, try, and you never know where the road takes you. You never know where the fork in the road is. So it's your job to do, and you let God do all the rest.
I mean, you you said Four Corners. My cameraman is giggling. There's a very popular place here called Four Corners, but it depends on what happens when you get here. You will see all that for yourself. I have to thank you so much, Mo Jannah, director of the BBC documentary I Am Igbo. Thank you for talking to us tonight on the Eastern Eye.
Thank you, Alex.
And I wish you all the best in your future endeavors, Mo. Thank you. And that's that's the Eastern Eye for tonight. We'll be here tomorrow sometime for another episode. My name is Alex Ogbodo. Good night.